Robots will replace all retail workers. How many times have you heard this doom and gloom story? Well, today, future focused friends, we're going to debunk that massive misconception. So, this is Future Bytes, and we're diving into digital transformation and AI within business. So, if you're looking for generating videos, how to make elephants do karate, then you're in the wrong place and going to be really, really sad about the next 20 minutes. So, in this episode, we're exploring actually making retail more human and not less. So, in contradiction to what I just said. So, we want to understand whether you're a store manager or a tech enthusiast or a retail CEO, what this means for us. This AI, how can it actually make us more human? So the today's reality. So we have so much information we need to go through today. So sometimes I will move really fast. So you better either put the podcast on half speed or just tag along really quickly. So let's first dive into today's reality in retail. Today, stores associates are drowning in data and customers are demanding instant personalization. We have all these complex operations that we need to do on a daily basis. So just to have 5 minutes to spare for anyone for extra customer interactions is just not happening. So we have all these problems that we need to solve. We have information overflow for the staff. They need to understand maybe 5,000 different stock keeping units and products names and product names changes and keep track of pricing, promotion, and learning about various discount offers and it could be anything like allergy advices for retail products, and they're so time consuming. Also, they have all these manual tasks. They do potentially 6 to hours per department when it comes to stock count on a weekly basis, just to keep the stock up to date. And they're manually restocking from back warehouse to the floor. They're doing reconciliation on POS devices or payment terminals and trying to figure out what the difference is. Price tags updates. There's so many things, right? And the customer at the same time is expecting more and more and more. Anything that goes out in the omni-channel space, like on the web page, needs to be picked up by the floor staff immediately. And on top of that, we're trying to do a lot more with AI and other technologies. So they really need to be up to date on how to use these tools and offer the best service. So it's a huge administrative burden. They need to go all this training documentation and whatnot. And at the same time, they need to do it real time. We're expecting essentially somebody from the street one day, on the next day, to be fully operational and efficient to handle everything that goes on in the shop. So, how are we dealing with that today? Well, poorly. I don't think we will have a future where we won't be able to do this without technology. We have to have technology because the demand from the customer is so harsh and putting us on the spot. So without technology, we won't be able to do this at all. But isn't that the same thing as the doom and gloom story I just mentioned? Won't they take our jobs? No. Here's the thing. We can focus what we need AI to do for us so we can become more human. So, how are we solving the problem with technology? Well, we want to automate all these routine tasks that I just mentioned. We want to make sure that AI and these technologies take care of price tagging, self-adjusting the stocks, the return processing, maybe fraud detection, all these things that we do out from a human, um, and all the decisions they need to make on a daily basis, like making sure that we have enough of a certain product in store, or because there's a seasonal demand, and all these things, they don't need to be on top of a human as an administrative task. They can be all delegated to technology. And this will obviously improve operational efficiency as well. Um, we can also see a hybrid situation where we're using AI not only to do some of the work, but to work in an assistant mode with the staff. So we don't know today the best way to interact with AI. Today, the only way is either through your mobile phone, or via conversation if you have a headset. But we need a better form factor to integrate with AI. So I think in the near future, we've seen this with some companies like Meta. We will see other types of integrations to AI. And it would be glasses, or if it will be AirPods, it doesn't really matter. But the future is this: you will have AI layering between you and the customer. So you will be able to go directly into the store, never worked there before, and you will have this super assistant doing the things that you cannot do, or telling you the information that you do not know. So you don't need to look that information up. There's somebody interactively listening into your conversations, and or your request. It could be like, oh, what is that, or where is that, in the store, and they will tell you. So this retail business will have their own internal smart super assistant, where you can also influence decision making from top. So let's say you're in a CEO position and you want to enforce a discipline or a design principle into all the stores. So whenever they're asking a specific question, they will always get the same answer. Today, this takes a long time to trickle out through the organization if you make a process change or something like that. Now, that might sound all fancy, and we don't really have that today. So it will be a gradual process where we're getting there. But what I want to envision or make sure that you understand is that we're heading there, where it's not about if, it's about when. And I think when is most likely going to be in the next 3 years. Absolutely. When we're going to see these devices that are supporting on floor staff, making decisions, and helping them. So all of a sudden, you have these super efficient people. What are you going to do with all the time? And here's the trick, right? Here's why I think this is the beauty of this technology is really becoming advantage. And it's not because we want to hide away in the store clerk room and drink coffee with our friends, even though that sounds so nice, right? Hectic day in the morning, getting the kids to work, and then just hide away and let AI do everything for you. No. A future and the buying pattern we are seeing is that we want more humans in the loop. So all of a sudden, when all this automation is done, you can actually spend time becoming friends with your customer. Sounds weird, right? But what if you have 1 hour extra per day that you don't do administrational work, but you actually try to figure out who's coming into my store? Have they been here before? What's their name? Ask them about what their preferences are. Not just rush by them idly trying to maybe put a fashion detail back on its rack, folding them at the same time you're asking, are you okay? Do you want help? No. being able to calmly be with our customers and be personal is going to be the major advantage for those retail companies that are able to do that. And so when we've been through all these streamlining activities, and they, as I said, they're going to come gradually. It's not going to happen like a big boom overnight, and it's going to be different. What is important depending on which retail vertical you're working in, and what you're selling, and also it's going to be important how omni-channel um, adopted you are. Right. Now I'm thinking there's some people back in the audience raising their hand and thinking, well, if AI is that good, can't they do more for us? Can't they like expand from this? Why just be this filter between the customer and the humans to enhance humans? Can't we do it? Can't we give them autonomous tasks and send them off and do things for us? Yes, we can. We can do that. But there is a profound problem today with the current AI technology, and it's not that precise. It can do a lot of things for us in certain scenarios, answer questions and do things, but when you're asking it to be autonomous, do things by itself, is where things can go haywire. Now, there is a specific benchmark within retail called T bench. So that's T hyphen bench. And that particular benchmark is for agents operating in the retail and flight industry. So essentially, if you're selling, for example, travel and flights to destinations, um, this would be a benchmark where you would check up how good are these AI agentic frameworks to do autonomous work. And the highest score while recording this is around 50%, which means if you are like me into diving, I love diving and scuba diving. I want to go to all these places in the world. Let's say you want to go to Maldives and dive, or some other exotic place to dive. And 50% means that every other order would be right. So the first time I go to my favorite diving place, the second time I would end up in Bangladesh, perhaps fantastic diving place, but not the place I'm going for. So they're not trustworthy at this moment. But that would quickly change. So it's hard to define a future 6 months down the line or even earlier because there's so many changes in this arena. So for now, just think on a concept level where we're heading. We're heading a place where AI will do a lot of these mundane tasks for us in retail. So we should, in my opinion, use that time relieved by this technology to become more human. Now, how will this how is this playing out right now? Is there somebody working on this, or are there any use cases out there? I would say very few. The places we see this automation taking place, especially in stores and in fidgetail, I know that's a difficult word. Fidgetail is like physical and retail all banged up together. So imagine you're being on an e-commerce platform and you're buying stuff on a website and you merge that into a physical store. That would be sort of fidgetail. Now, if you are like me living in an area in Scandinavia where the cities are small comparison to the large places around the globe, where cities actually have more people in the cities than the entire country I live in, um, then yes, the playground to do this type of experiments is a lot better because there's a lot of more people that you can experiment with. But if you don't have that experimentation, implementing this type of technology today will cost a lot of money. So there's a challenge here. There's a challenge with this digital transformation. And hopefully this is going to get better over time and cheaper over time. But there's a lot of things we can do in order to enable what I just talked about, making us more human with and have more time for human interactions. So, and there's a few, three things I would like to mention as the tip of the day that I think you should consider, regardless whether you're in an online retail scenario or on an in-store retail scenario. So the first tip is agents that you can chat to. So imagine yourself that everyone has a mobile phone. Crazy, right? Everybody does. So even though it's a to bring your own device type of thing you have in your retail business, or if it's a company asset, everybody has a device. So just to fire up a chat agent to give you these fast responses on your question and link that to data is an enormous winning, and it's a very easy start. You don't need to give them access to everything, but it saves so much time, especially now when you have conversational support for all these large language models, which is the sort of the secret ingredients for all this AI that we're talking about in generative AI space, especially specifically. You can have a conversation. So you can still be around in your physical store holding stuff, and you can just go, you know, tell me where I should put this, and you can get advice. So that's the first tip. The second technology I would suggest is potentially integrating, the physical environment with the non-physical environment, meaning that in order for you to find things, you need to tag them somehow. And there's a few technologies out there, and it's being discussed a lot in the retail space. And that's, for example, RFID, which is very, very popular concept I'm talking about. But all in all, we're talking about Internet of Things, connecting other things in the store to IT, so it becomes sensoric. It becomes possible to track with sensors. And with that, AI can then use and go out and see, well, let's assume it's a camera. A camera is filming some area of your shop. It can calculate or it can see how many of these types of products are there. It can do stock take. It can answer questions. You don't need to move away in large buildings to find out that information. You can get an idea. Maybe it's hidden away and you cannot really see it, but it's actually a lot more helpful than not having anything at all. And the third one I had, which is not really a technology, but more like a mindset, and it's allowing people in your business to come with tips on what they need. I often see that the structure of promoting new technology comes from a central location or a top down kind of perspective. Try to involve your users, involve your staff more in what they need to do a better job. Then you can avoid this pseudo solutions or pseudo technology that's popping up everywhere, where they're using, downloaded apps or whatever they need to do a better work. Because I think a lot of people are eager to become better at what they do, rather than just guessing their way forward. So with that said, I think if we're gonna summarize on what we just been through today, because there's been enormous a lot of information today, and it's hard to grasp all the things I said. But in the future is gloomy from half of the audience in perspective, where they say computers and AI and robots will take all our jobs. I don't believe so. That's the first takeaway from today. I believe whatever we want them to do, they will do for us because we're in control. And we're going to tell them to do the things we don't want to do so we can actually spend more time with our fellow colleagues, more time with our customers. And by that, we will become more human, and we will understand the requirements from our customers in a much, much higher level. And that can be fed back to the process and used as data to define and refine your business even further. Because sometimes I feel like we're just looking at patterns and we're just trying to use machine learning to understand how we buy things rather than just asking the human. Because we do not, we shouldn't forget that the best AI or the best I we have in our retail business is the humans working close to the customer. And instead of enhancing the technology, we should also, or only enhancing the technology, we should look at ways how we can enhance the humans as much as possible. So, with that said, we're going to see some challenges to get this in because it will cost a lot of money. But I think starting is everything. Let's make sure we start changing small things and starting today. Why not contact somebody to get your first chatbot into your business to help them do their job and get them to be more